going to start this morning by, well, I guess it could be evening or afternoon. Okay, I'm going to start right now by testing your awareness. We're going to see if you're able to solve a whodunit kind of mystery, okay? This is going to take all of your brain power to figure this one out, so fire that brain of yours up and please pay close attention.
Clearly, somebody in this room murdered Lord Smythe, who, at precisely 3:34 this afternoon, was brutally bludgeoned to death with a blunt instrument. I want each of you to tell me your whereabouts at precisely the time that this dastardly deed took place.
I was polishing the brass in the master bedroom.
I was buttering his lordship's scones below stairs, sir.
Why, I was planting my petunias in the potting shed.
Constable, arrest Lady Smythe.
But how did you know?
Madam, as any horticulturist will tell you, one does not plant petunias until May is out. Take her away.
Sorry, madam.
It's just a matter of observation. The real question is, how observant were you?
Action.
Clearly, somebody in this room murdered Lord Smythe, who, at precisely 3:34 this afternoon, was brutally bludgeoned to death with a blunt instrument. I want each of you to tell me your whereabouts at precisely the time that this dastardly deed took place.
I was polishing the brass in the master bedroom.
I was buttering his lordship's scones below stairs, sir.
Why, I was planting my petunias in the potting shed.
Constable, arrest Lady Smythe.
Okay, so did you solve the murder? But did you notice the 21 things that were changed? 21 things. You would be lucky to honestly have caught one or two of them, because it is very hard for our brains to notice changes if you aren't specifically looking for them. There's a story in Matthew chapter 8. It's also recorded in Luke chapter 7. It takes place fairly early in Jesus's ministry, but he's already done quite a bit leading up to this point. Matthew 4 tells us kind of what he was busy with leading up to the next chapters. Verse 23, Jesus went throughout Galilee, teaching in their synagogues, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom, and healing every disease and sickness among the people. News about him spread all over Syria, and people brought to him all who were ill with various diseases, those suffering severe pain, the demon-possessed, those having seizures, and the paralyzed, and he healed them. You see, that was a pretty common practice back then in that day. People would hear that Jesus was going to be somewhere, and then they would go and get their friends or family who needed healing, and they would bring them to him to see if they could get healing from Jesus. You probably even remember the story of the friends where Jesus was talking inside a home, and the friends grabbed their paralyzed friend, cut a hole in the roof, lowered him down on the mat right in front of Jesus so that Jesus would heal him. If you had somebody that you loved, you brought them to Jesus. Our story today is a little bit different, though. So Jesus has been traveling around, and he's been teaching and healing the Jews, but now something strange happens. In Matthew chapter 8, we read about a Roman centurion who approaches him. Matthew 8:5. When Jesus had entered Capernaum, a centurion came to him, asking for help. "Lord," he said, "my servant lies at home paralyzed, suffering terribly." Okay, so who is this is coming to Jesus? Not a Pharisee, not a Sadducee, not a scribe, not a teacher, not even a Jew. No, he is a Roman centurion. A Roman centurion. Who does this guy think he is? I mean, he's a Roman and a centurion at that. That means that he is in charge of 100 soldiers. That's where century comes from, centurion. Yeah, the Romans, who are they? Well, they're the ones who are oppressing the Jews. The Romans are the ones who have made Jewish lives difficult, and the Jewish nation wants nothing else than to be out from underneath of their rule. Romans and Jews are not friends. Nope. Romans look down on Jews. Jews do not look kindly at the Romans. So just starting off, right off the bat, the audacity of this Roman to approach Jesus and think that Jesus is going to do him any favors. I don't know if he forgot that Jesus was Jewish or not, but he is a Roman centurion. If you're talking about somebody that the Jews would be against, it's the guy in charge of 100 Roman soldiers. Yeah, not looking favorably upon that man. And I don't know if he forgot that he was a Roman and Jesus was a Jew, but I feel like he's going to learn pretty quickly. Jews and Romans are not friends. Verse 7. Jesus said to him, okay, let him have it. Jesus said to him, shall I come and heal him? Well, so much for letting him have it, right? Yeah, verse 8. The centurion replied, Lord, I do not deserve to have you come under my roof, but just say the word and my servant will be healed. For I myself am a man of authority with soldiers under me. I tell this one, go, and he goes. And that one, come, and he comes. And I say to my servant, do this, and he does it. Okay, wait a minute. Everybody else brings their paralyzed to Jesus, but the centurion wants Jesus to heal him without even seeing him. I mean, I think all the Jews around him right now are thinking, can he even do that? Like, is that something that he can do? Verse 10. When Jesus heard this, he was amazed and said to those following him, truly, I tell you, I have not found anyone in Israel with such great faith. Say to you that many will come from the east and the west and will take their places at the feast with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the subjects of the kingdom will be thrown outside into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Yeah, Jesus looks at this man and he sees more faith in a Roman centurion than he sees in most of the Jews around him. Verse 13, then Jesus said to the centurion, go, let it be done just as you have believed it would. And his servant was healed at that moment. The servant was healed because of his master's faith. Did everybody go crazy though and forget that this was a Roman? Like, am I the only one that's still remembering that this is a Roman? How can we just pretend like this isn't an issue? Jesus is a Jew. The centurion is a Roman commander of an army that suppresses Jews. Has Jesus lost his mind? How can he not see what is right in front of him? Well, we wouldn't have missed that. Would we have? Absolutely not. We would have recognized him as a Roman oppressor right off the bat. We wouldn't have given him the time of day, let alone a healing. And I know that because we are very good at seeing what is right in front of us. We are good at knowing almost immediately whether someone is worth our time or not. I mean, I can look at somebody and immediately know by the clothes they're wearing or the color of their skin or the sign that they're holding in their hands or the candidate they're supporting or the school that they go to or the nation that they originally come from. I can know immediately what I'm looking at right in front of me. I can see them for precisely who they are. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that if there's someone that I share common ground with, I'm going to recognize them. But if there's somebody else, then they can go stand on their own ground way over there where that centurion is standing. You know what I'm saying? So if I have the skills to be able to do that, to see people for who they are right off the bat, why wouldn't Jesus be able to see what was right in front of him? Well, actually, he did see what was right in front of him. And believe it or not, we're the ones who are living life blinded. You see, Jesus looked at this centurion, and do you know what he saw? He saw someone who needed him. That's what he saw. Oh, I know, but this guy was the wrong race. He was the wrong nationality. He was in the wrong job position. He was the enemy. I mean, how does Jesus not know that this is the enemy? How could Jesus not see all of that? Well, it's because he was looking for something else. Yeah, something that we'll never see, because just like in that whodunit in the beginning, we're not looking for what Jesus was looking for. Nope, looking for something completely different. Jesus looked at this man, and you know what he saw? He saw somebody who needed him. That's what he saw. We don't look at people like that. We do not. We are too busy trying to see how much people are like us or different from us. And we don't even take the time to ask the most important question. And what is the most important question? Well, you might be shocked to know that it isn't which political party are you? It isn't where were you born? It isn't what is your gender? It isn't what sins do you commit? It's none of those things. Then what is it? What is the most important question? The one that we should be thinking about asking before we ask anything else. The one question that trumps all other questions. The one that is truthfully the only question that really matters. What is that question? Do you know Jesus? Every other question, when compared to this question, is of absolutely no worth. In the life of a Christian, this question should trump all other questions. Do you know Jesus? The most important question on the face of the earth. Yet one that we find ourselves these days becoming way too distracted to actually ask. And that, my friends, is a strategy of the devil. And it is a good one. When you come across people for the first time, your mind starts spinning as you try to figure them out. And some people obviously take a little bit more time than others to figure out. But you do. You look at them and you try to guess all kinds of things about them, don't you? Who they are, what they stand for, who brought those shorts, where they live. That one's easy. The answer is Reimersburg. Every time you see someone, our mind begins to immediately ask questions and then answer them through what we see. And then based upon those answers, well, then we make a judgment about them. But let me ask you, when was the last time that the first question to enter your mind was, do they know Jesus? Because that question, I'm telling you, it comes over top of every other question. And until we train our brains to focus on the most important question, we will never be able to see people the way that Jesus saw them. He looked at people and he saw that they needed him. Matthew 9:36, when he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless like sheep without a shepherd. He sees everyone exactly the same. He sees us all as someone who needs him. Do you know who these kids are? There's somebody who needs Jesus. How about these people? Do you know who these people are? There's somebody who needs Jesus. What about these folks? Do you know who these folks are? Yep, there's somebody who needs Jesus. How about these two? Well, you know what? There's somebody who needs Jesus. See, the answer is the same no matter what I put on that screen. Without Jesus, there is no future. Without Jesus, there is no eternal life. How can we pretend like anything else is as important as the question, do they know Jesus? How can we not understand that this question should be on our mind 100% of the day, anytime we come in contact with anyone else, because it is the most important question. Every single person that we come in contact with is someone who needs Jesus. And that is how Jesus saw everyone. And when the adulterous woman was before Jesus, he didn't see someone who should be stoned. He saw someone who needed him. When Jesus called Matthew, the tax collector, to be one of his disciples, he didn't see a traitor to his nation beyond redemption. He saw someone who needed him. When lepers approached Jesus, he didn't see someone to run far away from. He saw someone that needed him. When the woman came to the well to draw water, he didn't see a many times divorced, worthless woman. He saw someone who needed him. When Jesus looked down on the road to Damascus, he didn't see an unredemptive murderer. He saw Paul, a future servant who needed him. When Jesus hung on the cross, he looked down at those crucifying him, and he didn't see a bunch of filthy murderers. He saw people that needed him. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. When did we stop remembering that people need Jesus? When did we become so caught up in our differences that we forgot the one unifying truth that should guide everything we say and everything we do? That truth is people need Jesus. That's who we are as Christians. That is who we are first and foremost, and everything else is secondary. Who is this? Say this with me. Somebody who needs Jesus. And this, somebody who needs Jesus. And this, somebody who needs Jesus. Are you getting it? Somebody who needs Jesus. 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 Are you understanding now? The devil has us so stuck focusing on our differences for so long that we have forgotten the one thing that we share in common, which is more important than all of our differences combined. We all are somebody who needs Jesus. And until we use that truth to motivate us to ask the most important question, do they know Jesus? Well, then guess what? The devil continues to win. Everything we say, everything we do should be done with a purpose. And that purpose should be to bring Jesus to all of those somebodies who still desperately need him. So let me ask you one final time to take a look around you and tell me what you see. Now, what are you going to do about it? Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Take care. God bless. Hope to see you soon.